I've been wanting to visit Echo Park in the heart of Dinosaur National Monument for a while. Now that I got a 4x4 vehicle again, I feel confident enough to brave all the warnings to be careful about the dirt road going into the park. Dinosaur National Monument straddles the border of Colorado and Utah. Named for the Dinosaur quarry on the west side, the majority of the park is actually deep sandstone canyons, world famous among river rafters. Echo Park and Yampa bench roads can get really bad if it rains and turns to mud. Even four-wheel drive vehicles can get bogged down, but when it's dry, it's not a problem. Down that road into Echo Park. This is nothing. You can do this with just about anything. I think it's really just what you feel you're capable of yourself. But so far, passenger cars can get up this. You got a Subaru Outback, have fun on it. Does not do anything. Should be smart enough to put it in a loop. Echo Park is located in the center of Dinosaur National Monument at the confluence of the Green and Yampa rivers. Echo Park Road goes down through a narrow canyon to reach the river bottom. Because of its midpoint access, it's a popular place to pick up and drop off river rafters. On the way down, you pass an old ranch, a few arches, Fremont Indian petroglyphs, a few granaries, and a small cave that remains nice and cool even in the hot summer heat. Down at Echo Park is the Echo Park Campground, and in the middle of the river bend, Steamboat Rock stands up like a massive ship's sail. This is Chew Ranch. They sold it to the park in 1944, somewhere around there. The ranch was established in 1900. The area became a monument in 1919 and they were allowed to stay by special permit until 1970 when the permit ran out and they left. The family now owns the large ranch just outside Split Mountain that you drive past on the Cub Creek Road by the quarry. The Yampa Bench Road is a little bumpier than the Echo Park Road, but nothing bad. However, when it rains, it turns to mud and is basically impassable to all vehicles. And anybody that does try to push through will be damaging the road by cutting deep ruts, so please just stay off it if it's muddy. I saw one car that risked it and bogged down to its axles and had to be abandoned with all their camp gear still inside. This is the Castle Park overlook. Below was a rafting expedition that had stopped to investigate some of the Indian ruins that were on the cliff beneath me. Even though it's named after the quarry, the monument owes its continued existence as we know it to the river rafters. In the 1950s, a large dam was planned to go in at Echo Park, similar to what was done at Hoover Dam. The local rafters fought to keep their canyon. Conservationists, who didn't want another loss like the Hetch Hetchy Dam in Yosemite, teamed up with local rafting groups to protect the area. At the same time, a similar dam was planned to go in at Glen Canyon, which was relatively unknown at the time. Unfortunately, they focused on saving Dinosaur and keeping large water developments out of national parks. At the time that they realized that the Glen Canyon area was just as beautiful, larger, and had more historic artifacts, it was too late to stop the creation of Lake Powell. The dam planned for Dinosaur was moved north and became Flaming Gorge. Biological soil crust takes decades to grow and plays an integral part in keeping the desert topsoil from blowing away. It's very important to stay on the trail. One footprint will destroy 50 years of work. As we've learned how fires can help rejuvenate forests, the National Park Service has taken a hands-off approach to naturally occurring forest fires, just so long as they don't damage any property. So while it may look like a tree graveyard, it's just the natural ecosystem running its course. When I was a kid, this area was very desolate, but in recent years the oil drilling in the area has run roads through once wild areas. The entire eastern part of the state is now polka dotted with oil wells so much that they can be seen in satellite maps. South of the White River are few cities except for Native American reservation land, but the area is still covered in roads used by the oil companies. I have an old 1980s recreation map of Utah, and in it this area is a key point of interest called the Devil's Playground. But even though the area still goes by that name in some topographical maps, the BLM has scrubbed any mention of it as a recreation area. Now the land is all leased out to oil companies for oil wells. The air smells like rubber, kind of like the inside of a tire repair shop. I know it's a little disgusting, but that's the second dead horse I've seen by these oil wells. It's getting a little weird. Maybe they're just getting hit off the side of the road, I don't know. But there's a lot of dead animals around here. Wondering what's going on. Freaking A, horses. Is there like a chemical leak around here or something? Should I be putting on gas masks? It's really a shame because this area is gorgeous when you ignore the oil wells. The rolling colored hills remind me of a mini version of Badlands National Park in South Dakota. In any other state this would be a national park in itself. Here it's been stricken from the records because we already have tons of amazing recreation lands and the oil companies wanted to wet their whistle too. It's a shame that parts of this state can be forgotten and then sold. Desert seems desolate sometimes, but there's water, plants. Heard frogs out here last night. Heading back up into Dinosaur, we see the remnants of the people that came long before the oil speculators of the 90s and the rafters and conservationists of the 50s. Hundreds of years ago, the Fremont Indians lived in the park and left their marks on the stone. Remember what I said about staying on the trail? Yeah, don't be like this woman. The Indians settled here because of the fertile natural floodplains along the Green River, lands that the Chew family still farm today, same as when their parents and grandparents did in the heart of the park. Dinosaur is a beautiful and often overlooked national monument of deep canyons, and in those canyons are the history of mankind ranging from natives farming the land hundreds of years ago to the present-day tourists, rafters, and explorers like myself.